So, Jack, thanks for joining us to chat about your brand new book.
That's a pleasure. Very nice.
And you have trained as a psychotherapist for this.
Yeah.
Could you tell me about the lengthy process that got you there?
Yeah, it's rigorous and hard work, but ultimately worthwhile. And from the moment I enrolled right up until later that afternoon when I got the certificate of completion, I knew that this was the right thing to be doing, and it was, and that I was then ready to embark on my new career of helping people.
4 hours well spent.
4 hours well spent, I think so.
Yeah.
And they have shorter courses, but I thought, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the whole thing because I don't want to do this by half measures.
Yeah, you've got to do it properly.
Well, if you're going to help people, you need to sort of take it seriously. And
so you've now put that all into, helping people and giving people advice in your brand new book.
Yeah. What
is your problem?
Yes.
So tell me how you've used your skills in that.
In as far as I've had people write to me with their dilemmas and issues and problems, and I was able to shed some light on them and give them the benefit of my I don't want to say the word, but I will, wisdom, expertise. Yeah. You know, that was really what it was about.
What sort of problems are we talking that people?
I suppose generally you would categorize them into friendships, relationships, money, sex, although not so many sexual problems were written in with. I don't know why that was. But certainly relationships and other things to do with families around that area, such as, the sort of Christmas and how to deal with unwanted relatives and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Children who play on video games all day.
Children, partners who are, annoying you for whatever reason. And I'm able to drill down into that stuff using my knowledge and help them to, clear up a few of these things.
And I know you probably usually charge for this sort of thing, but I wondered if you'd help me with a couple of my own problems.
Okay, it depends what the problems are. Okay. I might have to say that's too big for me to deal with right now, but I can book you in for some sessions and we'll devise a package that will suit your needs.
Okay, so
but go ahead, yeah.
So to start with, I really, really want a cat, really want a cat, but my fiancé, he doesn't want any pets. Right. What should I do in this situation?
That's a weird fiancé to not want pets, because that means he doesn't want to divide your attention between him and a cat or and I think that's a concern. I think you should finish it.
Do you reckon?
I do, because there are plenty of other people out there who love cats.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get both things you want.
Yeah. Do you think that should go up there in my criteria of a partner wants a cat?
Well, yeah, because it's what you want. You don't want to, what's going to happen next? You want to live somewhere nice. Oh, but my partner doesn't. I want children. My partner doesn't. I'd like a car, but my partner doesn't. You're going to deny yourself all these things all through your life. It's then going to get worse.
Yeah.
That's that's my professional opinion.
So that makes my next piece of advice slightly that I want to ask.
Because now the relationship's over anyway.
The relationship's over anyway, but I'll ask, just in case it should come up in another relationship.
It might,
So when it comes to cleaning, my partner has two settings. One is not cleaning, and the other one is spending a whole day doing a really thorough clean on one room.
Okay.
But in practice, that means that he just basically doesn't clean, because who has a whole day to spend cleaning one room?
Yeah.
So, what should I do? Can I convince him that little and often is the way forward, and that, he really just needs to succumb to my ways?
Yeah, I mean, there might be an underlying psychological problem that he has with not being able to do a thing on a slight basis. It all has to be all or nothing. But the other thing I have to say is you're sounding hard to please. First you want a cat. Now he's not even cleaning the place the way you would like. So maybe look at that, because give him some credit. He is at least doing some cleaning, but just not on your terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be, and I wish you'd given me that problem first, because that shed some light on the cat thing. Is that maybe it's your demands are too much for him, and he's thinking, she doesn't even like the way I clean the room, and so why should I don't want a cat with this person, because then where's it going to end?
Yeah. So what you're saying there is really that I should sustain the relationship, but just change everything about myself.
About your personality.
That's probably the better way forward.
That might be. If you were a different personality, I think both these things would have not mattered so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really useful.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have helped.
And then there's a question that I think will actually resonate with a lot of people at the moment. We looked at our recent energy bill. It is sky high. It's through the roof.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know at the moment. Do we just find a way to pay that, or do we basically sit in the dark?
Good question, and it's only going to get worse. This because what we're doing now, and everyone's going to have these. Different kinds of boilers. There's not going to be enough electricity or power. So we're going to have to deal with this somehow and find other solutions. But I mean, I'm working on it. I can let you in on a bit of it. I can't give you too many details, but there's going to be a new way of generating energy within households that will have my name all over it. For instance, we underuse floors. We don't use floors enough. Because if you think about a floor you walk around on all the time, that's that kind of kinetic energy that's being wasted. So we'll harness that. We'll learn to harness that. And if, for instance, if you had a cat, you could have the cat connected in some way, so that or put it into a wheel. And toddlers are the same because they're always running around. Imagine the energy you get off a toddler running around on the floor all day. And I think, even if you live with an old person, just you connect their knitting needles or something up. So all that movement can translate into power. This is the way forward. Now, we're not there yet because obviously I again, I won't go into details, and I have a little way to go before that is, established. But otherwise, it's down to saving energy.
Yeah.
And that's just dull, isn't it? Because unless you've really got a lot to talk about, you need the TV on.
You do need the TV on.
And it sounds like are you struggling for conversation sometimes?
I wouldn't say I'm struggling strong.
It's not the adamant answer I was looking for. If you'd say, no, Jack, we love each other talking. So again, there's doubt. Well, okay, so you do talk.
Yeah.
Are they good conversations?
Yeah.
So you don't need electricity for conversations.
You're right. Light some candles.
Well, even you just sit in the dark and talk.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first.
That's true. And so we've established, I'm sat in the dark with my fiancé. Yeah. We're having a chat. I'm no longer asking him for a cat. I'm changing my personality.
Yeah.
We are going to get married in that scenario.
Okay.
How do I tell someone who thinks they're invited to my wedding that they're not actually invited? They're just presumed.
Right. I think that's just, sometimes we get these situations where it's difficult and you think this is a dilemma, but it's not such a dilemma in the end. I think you just have to pluck up the courage when some things can be difficult to say, but just rehearse it to yourself and then do it so that the words will come out smoothly. There'll be no ambiguity, no misunderstanding. Just pick up the phone and say, Mum, numbers are tight. You're not coming. Get over it.
Yeah. And have you found that approach quite successful, particularly with, close relatives?
People who are not as, let's say, emotionally sophisticated as I am, might come back with expletives and say, all kinds of stuff that I won't repeat now. But that's their problem. That's them having to start the journey of coming to terms with a rejection from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not my problem. It's another thing you have to understand.
Yeah.
If you don't want someone at your wedding, that's not your problem. That's their problem for thinking that they're coming.
Right.
Right, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're staying at home.
I'll prepare myself for whatever reaction they give so that I can, just take a step back.
Yeah, and you can come up with, a good one is, I'm sorry you feel like that, Mum, but it's still not happening.
Yeah. My mum actually has cancer, so she might not come to my wedding. So
she might not come anyway.
She might not come anyway.
Well, there you are. Well, that's keep it light.
Yeah, I know.